today I have my special empowered mom with me, Lisa. She came to us back in April of this year. She went through this same empowered birth workshop that you've just gone through. She figured out she wanted to come to her birth from a place of power instead of a place of fear. And Lisa, can you tell me a little bit about your backstory?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a mom of now four. At the time when I met you and Jenny, well, I met Jenny a while ago, but when I met you, I was about 30 weeks pregnant or so with my fourth. I had two C-sections, they weren't emergency C-sections. They were just the doctors not knowing what to do. And so I really wanted to have my last birth to be as natural as possible. If I could do a VBAC, did lots of research prior to meeting up with you, and then was just even further more empowered to do it and to move forward with a more natural approach for birthing. So yeah, and then I think the other thing too that's really important, that it'll probably come up maybe in some of the questions too, but something else to keep in mind was that I felt really just cut down and disrespected by the healthcare industry from the get-go with this pregnancy. It was not inclusive at all. I'm a bigger person, and as soon as I stepped into the midwife's office, immediately I was basically hit with a fat stick. And it was terrible. It was horrible and humiliating, and just, yeah. And so I wanted to take my power back, and I wanted to make sure that, I could have an empowered pregnancy, and that my little girl, came into the world as safe and as healthy as possible. So.
Yeah, and I mean, that was so frustrating too, that you were just hit with the fat stick right out the gate. I mean, you didn't even have gestational diabetes, like there was nothing wrong with you. And they were like constantly telling you that something was going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but I'm healthy, I'm eating healthy. Like you had a lot of information on nutrition that you brought to the table. Like we even were discussing inside of the program every single week in the classes, and you were like, hey, I just found out this about supplements and about folate and folic acid. And I'm like, like you're doing your research. And it was just completely unfair. But then you ended up like basically making the decision that you were going to do a VBAC or attempt a VBAC. And you wanted to labor because you hadn't been given that chance before. You'd been induced with your first, is that correct?
No, I did labor a bit with my first, but my water never broke and I never progressed. They did a sweep in the middle of labor, which I swear put me back another, couple centimeters. And they just wouldn't let me labor past a certain point. They basically strapped me to the bed and they were just like, okay, we need to monitor you now, and you're not allowed to move and you're not allowed to eat. And I lost all my energy and all of my power at that point because I wasn't allowed to eat or drink at that juncture. And so I had already been laboring for probably about 12 hours at that point. Of course you're exhausted. Of course all of your reserves are gone. And so it got to that place where I was just like, I don't even care anymore. Like, just tell me what needs to happen. And that's the moment, you lose all of your power, you lose all of your decision-making faculties. And honestly, I didn't know any better. I thought that the midwives were advocating on my behalf, and they really weren't. Which is unfortunate. So.
And you just wanted a damn turkey sandwich and the booster juice.
Oh my gosh. So mad about the turkey sandwich.
You just wanted that.
Booster juice and the turkey sandwich.
And they just would not give it to you. And I mean, that was one thing that we really talked about a lot in your plans for your labor. It's like, you know what? You're going to get your turkey sandwich and you got your booster juice. And you did get that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that was eventually one of the things that you did get. So that was really good. And then with your twins, like you had the C-section for your twins. You'd said that after that, you just were not informed of your rights.
No.
And laboring 12 hours is actually pretty common, especially for a first baby. Like I labored for 36.
Oh gosh.
So I mean, it was so stupid. And then they also did the sweep on you, which I do consider an induction.
Okay.
Because like they're trying to get things moving. They're trying to interfere. So they did that to you. And then like we already know your cervix is not a crystal ball. Cervixes hate to be checked. Cervixes really hate membrane sweeps.
Yeah.
Like it's just our bodies are like, hey, we don't like this. And these stupid procedures end up setting us back. So like that really freaking sucked for you. But I mean, we worked through a lot of your fears that your body didn't work. And what happened is that you started to go into prodromal labor a few weeks before Miss Caitlin was born. And you started to say, it's like, hey, like my body works. Like this is actually working. Like things are moving. It's not.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience with prodromal labor and what really helped? Because so many moms go through it and we think that it's not normal.
Yeah. I think, well, it's, first of all, it's kind of important to like classify that. So I had Braxton Hicks with the twins, and then it moved into prodromal labor, which I didn't even know. So having that distinction going in was really important. And knowing this time, like what I was actually experiencing was really, for lack of a better word, empowering. It really was, because then I had the knowledge of, oh, this is supposed to happen. Okay, this is good. This is natural. This is fine. It was frustrating, I'm not going to lie, because you're just like, yes, I'm going into labor. No, I'm not going into labor, because it's labor, but it's not labor. And so I had to mentally separate myself from anticipating too much. I think that was the best tip that you gave me, was just like, just ride this wave, like do what you need to do, like rest as much as possible, hydrate as much as possible, and just envision, you know, what you want to happen, and a safe birth, and you know, that your body is doing exactly what it needed to do. And so I did a lot of reading, and I made sure that like on the nights when I was kept up with a prodromal labor, that I was watching shows that weren't, you know, anxiety inducing and weren't intense. And I was trying to, you know, create playlists, relaxing playlists, and again, just mentally prepare and use that time, even though sometimes it was really frustrating, but to utilize that time for good and, you know, for the end game. Jenny, who's also part of our team, was so helpful with like the dates and everything, or the dates.
Yes, dates.
Those were phenomenal. And actually the days that I didn't have any, my body started to crave them. And so that actually helped with the intensity of the prodromal labor and making it, I swear that that's what kind of pushed me over the edge, were the dates and the red raspberry tea. And then again, just mentally relaxing, because anytime that I ended up having stressful situations happen, like when my parents arrived a little too early and I was, you know, banging heads with my dad, who was anxious and stressed, and like his energy is just so intense, and it caused my body to slow down and not be in labor anymore, in prodromal labor. And so that was really frustrating for me. So that's when I kicked him out of the house, and I'm like, go back home. We'll see you later. And he did. He drove 12 hours back home. He's like, okay, call me when you're actually in labor, when you have the baby. And that was the best thing that I could have done for myself, because like, so my mom stuck around and helped out to relieve some of the stress with caring for the kids. But just even having that calming presence of, okay, like it's okay to be in labor. It is okay to be, you know, waiting for this baby. It's totally fine. You know, it's an estimated guess. Your due date is not when the baby's supposed to come. I mean, in my case, it did, but that's not always, obviously, it's never the case for most people. The mental game is the biggest thing. I can't even talk more about it. It's just, you have to get your mind right. Your mindset is 99% of it, I think.
Yeah,
going into
I was
it.
told 90% of the game is played above the shoulders, but maybe it is 99% when it comes to our feminine power and energy, because like
Yeah.
we're magical creatures.
Yeah. Well, and going into this pregnant, like into the end of this pregnancy too, like it really was a mind game. Just trying to get everything settled. And I mean, I had just moved too. So big piece of advice, don't move right before you have a baby. If you can avoid that, it's huge stressor and just clutter everywhere and just not fun. That was the other thing, is that I created like a lotus of space for myself. Like in the bathroom, and also just in part of our bedroom, just so that was a space for me, and that my brain could go there when I was really overwhelmed or really stressed. And I'd be just like, no, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom for a while, and I'm just going to sit here, and I'm just going to focus, and I'm just going to relax, and just, put all of my energy into this baby and a healthy birth and all of that. And so that really solidified a lot of things that happened and how they played out. So
yeah, you really created that right environment for yourself, and you had that right mindset. And I know you were getting really, really frustrated with the prodromal labor, and like Michaela drove me crazy. So I could totally empathize with you on that, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this little girl is pulling the same stuff that Michaela pulled. And like all I can really do is be like, like this is what helped, and try this. And Jenny had the dates, and like we just really worked with you for that. And then, I mean, in the end, you also were able to pass that on to Rebecca, because Rebecca then took the advice to use the dates, and that works for her. So, I mean, you gathered a lot of wisdom in the few months that you were working with us. And like you started at 30 weeks when I gave you the program as the scholarship. I'm like, we've got to get you in quickly. Like you were able to do so much with so short a time. And then like you went into labor on your own.
Yeah.
And you were so close to the end. You were so close. And I mean, what happened is you just didn't have the right support of your family.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what happens when people interfere with your environment. But the fact is that, Lisa, you did do it, and your body does work. And like, what happened afterwards? Can you talk a little bit about afterwards, after you came home after the C-section, and you got a postpartum doula, and how did that come about? Because you said that you needed a postpartum doula, and Jenny was on it. Like, how quickly did that happen? Can you tell everyone about that?
So I interviewed or tried to interview a couple of people, actually. One lady came to our home, and we thought that, it would work, that she would be helpful, and she kind of ghosted us. I messaged her, and then she just disappeared. And then there were a couple other people that I contacted that just never got back to us. I did actually get an email 3 months after the fact from one of them, where she's like, I'm so sorry, I went to my other box. I'm like, it doesn't matter, I don't care. Yeah, so then Jenny found me the postpartum doula. I was kind of at my wit's end, and there was some tension, and still is, in our relationship with my husband. And so it was kind of an ultimatum situation, where he said that if I didn't get help, that there was just some bad stuff that would happen. And so so Jenny contacted the postpartum doula, who is amazing, contacted her the one night that we were chatting, and she got back to me that same night. It was late at night too, like it was like 10, quarter after 10 already. And she messaged me, and we chatted, and she showed up the next day and was like, hey, like let's chat, let's see if this is going to work out, tell me how I can help you, tell me how I can support you, all this kind of stuff. And so it's been a really amazing relationship having her as part of our family, I guess. I consider her part of our family. We have very similar values and views and everything.
And name.
And name, yeah, Lisa. Her name's Lisa too. I think the most beautiful part of it too is that She comes in, she assesses the situation, and she just goes right to it. Like there's hardly any questions that she asks me anymore. Like we've gotten to the place now where she's just like, hey, so should I do this chore and this chore like I normally do, and is there anything else that's pressing that you need help with? She does everything from making meals to taking care of Caitlin. Caitlin was very, very clingy when she was born, and which is fine. I mean, I love baby snuggles and stuff, but it was a bit intense because I couldn't put her down and she had to sleep on people. And so I literally was chained to the couch, and that's caused huge tension in our family just because, I mean, Dale needed help with the kids, rightly so. And I needed to do more than just sit on the couch, right? Like I was going mental. So even just having her come in and I'll be like, here you go, have the baby. I need a break. And she snuggles with the baby for a while, which is totally fine. And that's what it was initially, where I'm like, here, take her. I pumped a bottle. You can feed her. I'm going to go take a shower because I haven't showered in 3 days or whatever. I'm like, I'm just going to go, stand in the kitchen because I can. Like just, stuff like that, where she's really stepped in to support us as a family and me. And she sits there and listens too, because there's been so many times where it's just me and her and the baby. And so she sits there and she listens to me vent, or if I need a shoulder to cry on, or she's helped me process the certain aspects of the birth with Caitlin and some fallout from all of that, with relationships. And just I had no idea, honestly, absolutely no concept of what a postpartum doula does, or even really what a doula does. And she's proven to me that she's worth her weight in gold. Like she's just amazing. I can't speak, like if any of you are listening out there, I cannot recommend more to get a postpartum doula. Like it is the best thing. If you are registering for something for your baby or like for your family, get them to pay for a postpartum doula. It is the best gift in the whole world. Like you will thank me and your lucky stars that you brought in this person to help you, because postpartum is no joke. I've done it 3 times and it's still no joke. Even though I had done it before and I knew what to expect with recovery and everything else, like it's a lot. So yeah, register for that. Forget about the bouncy chair until later. Register for the postpartum doula.
Totally. I mean, the bouncy chair, my kids didn't even want the damn thing. But I mean, it's true, because what we did is you didn't know really what a postpartum doula did. And so I asked you, it's like, okay, well, Lisa, they can do anything for you. You just have to hire the right one. So what is it that you need for support? So we really worked on figuring out what your needs were, what you were really looking for, what questions that you would want to ask. I mean, this isn't something like, how long have you been a doula? This is, I have these specific needs with my children and the way my family dynamic is. And this is what I'm looking for. Can you support me in that?
Absolutely.
Like that's how we really figured it out, because those templates, those questions on the internet, they don't work.
No. And you really have to interview. Like I was fortunate at this first one that we got, like that Lisa worked out perfectly. And she even said it too. She's just like, wow, she said, I've been so fortunate that all my families we've really gelled together. She said, but it doesn't always work that way, right? You have to find that right fit, that symbiotic relationship where, the postpartum doula can step in as almost like a family member, and that the rhythm is good, that they can pick up on your family's unique rhythms and your unique flow with how you do things, because that's really important. Because I mean, I know that I'm sure you run your household way differently than I run my household, right? And there's because my family also has children with special needs, that was another huge, part of the interview process, and trying to determine if she was going to gel with my other kids as well. So no, but she's definitely definitely worth it. That's for sure.
Well, we wanted to make sure you had that right support too, because I mean, I can talk to you through Zoom, but I can't actually do dishes for you. And I wanted to make sure that you had that. And I mean, Jenny was just on it. As soon as we knew exactly what you were looking for, we're like, on it. We're gonna get you that.
Yeah.
But then Miss Lisa, how old is Caitlin now?
Jeez, my brain just totally froze. She's 4.5 months.
Okay, and what are you doing right now in class right now? Like in your life, like you are pursuing a master's degree.
Yeah, for the moment anyway. We'll see how that goes. I'm pursuing a career change. That's the bottom line. I wanted to go into counseling or therapy and help other people out. And so I got accepted to my master's program before I found out I was pregnant with Caitlin. So the initial plan was to start last year. But then I got pregnant and then we were moving and all this crazy stuff. So I opted to wait until this fall and had to make a really big decision because if I didn't start the course, then I would lose my acceptance. And so I've been trying to juggle this master's course, which is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and she's 4 months.
And she's 4 months. Yeah, it's a little insane. Yeah. So I think, I mean, moving forward, I think I'm going to streamline it a little bit. The program that I signed up for is a 90 credit course, which means I will be in school for like 6 years in order to get this thing, $50,000 later. And I'm not sure that that's actually conducive to where our family situation is at and what I need career-wise. So I think I am going to make a shift to get a diploma in counseling, which is still recognized. It's just not as in-depth as a master's program would be. There's also, because of the wonderful C word that's happening in the world right now, there's a lot of issues in terms of travel and school acceptance and some other political stuff that I probably won't be able to jump through those hoops. But I am still planning to continue studying until I go back to work and get my diploma, because that's really important to me. I love school, but I want what's best for my family. I love working from home, and I've been able to work from home for the last 4 years, actually almost 5 years. And it's given me tons of flexibility. But the thing of it is that this particular position that I'm going back to it doesn't have longevity, and I'm not passionate about it at all. So I want to create a life for my family where I can pick and choose the hours that I work. If I'm working 4 hours a week, great. I'm still making really good money, as a therapist, and still helping people in a very valuable way. So, so that's kind of my end goal. Hopefully get there. A few more hoops to jump through in the meantime, but
yes, and Caitlin's 4 months, and you've already got like this life plan that's just absolutely fantastic. Like, you're gonna nail this, Lisa. You're gonna totally get through everything you want is happening. And I mean, I'm so proud of you, because like really what we do inside of our chats is that you come up with a question or something that's going on, and then we just love on you and ask you a few key questions. So can you talk a little bit about just your experience within this program and working with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first came on board, I wasn't really sure what to expect. As I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, I met Jenny actually back in university. So like I don't want to date myself, but it was a long time ago. Anyway, met her a long time ago. And so I trusted her and her judgment, and I knew that whatever was taking place here would have to be pretty cool, because she's a very cool person and doesn't mess around. And she's very intelligent too. So when I first joined, I thought, oh, you know, maybe I'll get some, you know, some tips or some advice or whatever to get through this pregnancy. And it ended up being a whole lot more than that. The support and the love and the encouragement and the sometimes the kick in the butt, which I needed, or the smack upside the head, because sometimes not that harsh.
Lovingly smack you upside the head.
Yeah,
Jenny's a little bit more smack up the side of the head, but I'm lovingly doing it.
Exactly. Like, Lisa, get your shit together. No, and that was really good, because there were some times where I was wallowing. I was totally wallowing, and I needed someone to be like, okay, pull up your pants and let's go. Like, you're fine. You're good. You've got this. You've got the power. You've got the energy. You can do this. And we're here to support you. And even though it was long distance, I constantly felt supported, and I constantly felt not alone. Like, I never felt alone. And even when everything was going sideways at the end of my labor and whatever happens there, I still knew that you guys were there for me and you had my backs, and that no matter what happened, like, you got me through some of the toughest days following that, and trying to process what the hell happened. And so that, again, it wasn't just okay, this is a class on information about this. It was, let's talk through, like, what are you afraid of? What are you concerned about? How can we support each other? Like, very, very, you know, all around support. Oh, you're having a crappy day. Let's talk about that, instead of, you know, how your cervix works today, right? Because it was relevant. And so, because all of your emotions and all of your mental capacities leading up to a birth are very relevant. And if you're not processing any of that leading into it, chances are you're not going to have a smooth birth, because you've got all this clutter in your head and you've got all this emotion that you never processed or never got support for. And I really needed that. Like, I didn't, especially when we moved, because I had nobody. You know, I didn't have any friends that were coming to check on me. Most of my friends were super busy with summer plans and everything else. And, you know, like, I just didn't have the support that I needed. So yeah, I can't speak enough on, like, don't get me wrong, the information is phenomenal. Like, I'm not going to downplay that, because I learned so much, even with my capacity for research and, you know, eccentricity for research, I guess. I still didn't know squat going into this. Even after having 3 babies, I still learned so much from the classes. But it was more than that. It wasn't just a class, it was a class plus. And especially just being able to connect to new people that I had no idea that I would ever connect to, in such a loving way. So yeah, that's all I can say about that, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is about this program is, after you have your baby, like, you're not done. Like, you get to continue within the program. And once you finish up with your time, because it's usually, once you've finished your actual initial investment, like, you're in for life as an empowered mom. You win that title and you get to mentor someone else. So Lisa, can you talk a little bit about how you mentored Rebecca? Because we had a few classes together where Jenny wasn't on, but it was just you, me, and Rebecca, and you were sharing your wisdom with her, and that totally helped her. So
yeah, I think it's that full circle of empowerment, because you start with someone empowering you, and then you go through your process, and then you get to the end of your process and you realize that you can turn around and then empower somebody else and complete the circle. And to be honest, like, after I had Caitlin and went, you know, when things went a bit sideways and not the way that I had planned, I didn't feel empowered. I didn't feel like I had anything to offer anyone. I didn't really feel like I had done what was necessary. And it was really interesting, because even like the first time when I hopped onto the chat, I'm just like, oh, Like, I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything to offer. And it was funny because as the conversation progressed, I was like, no, I really do. I actually do have something to offer. And even if she can't take that, or even if she doesn't use it, I still have something to offer. I still went through the process. I still did the work. It just that, you know, my outcome was a little bit different than I had wanted it to be. So every, like, you know, little things like, hey, eat the dates, even if you don't like them, eat the dates, it'll help you. Or again, like, get your mindset right. Or hey, like, I found this amazing midwife website with supplies. Maybe you should look in your area to see if you can find something like that on Amazon. Buy these pads because they're awesome. Or, you know, like, just even little tips like that, where I felt like, even again, like, even though I didn't have the birth that I really wanted, I still did the work and can pass on advice that led me up to that birth, right? And I don't know, it's kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall, right? Where it's like, some of the stuff I said stuck, I'm sure, with her, and other things maybe didn't. And that's fine. Like, she took what she needed and ran with it, which is awesome. And now she can turn around and be like, hey, so Lisa recommended that I do da 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 da, and it totally worked for me. So I think that you should try this. And so all of a sudden it becomes, you know, long lasting. And so that was really important, an important part for me to be part of, that finishing circle aspect, because it reminded me of all the work that I had done. It reminded me that I still had value and that I still had something to add, even though, you know, things didn't go exactly as planned. So yeah, I love that. If anyone's taking these courses or involved at all, like, I highly recommend being part of that final step, like that final journey, because it does something for you. It still continues to build in your own confidence, and again, for lack of a better expression, it just fills in that circle as women and as, you know, empowered moms, that and again, postpartum is really difficult, and there are some moments where you don't feel like you're doing a good job, and you feel like a failure, even if you've had the best birth in the entire world and it's completely smooth and everything else. The hormones are all out of whack, you're crying in the bathroom because you haven't had a break, and like, there's all those different things that happen. And having that tiny little piece of purpose was huge and really helped me, I know, for the few times I was able to join, and really kind of pulled me out of that hole, so that I could, yeah, give back in a very meaningful way, at least I thought. So
Yeah, no, Lisa, you are so valuable. And like, I know that you've got such a busy schedule. I mean, you've got 4 kids and 3 with high needs and special needs, and your new little baby who's still not even 6 months old, and everything that you've gone through, and still unpacking
oh yeah.
even after that. And there was fires in your area, so you had to evacuate after Caitlin was born. So you had to deal with that too. I mean, there was so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you couldn't show up live to the classes, you were still part of our community because we had you in the group chat.
Oh yeah.
And we'd be like, Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about this? And you had your nutrition background and you could pass that on. Like, you are so valuable for the knowledge that you have. And like, that's why I'm very picky on who I let in the actual program itself, is because you got to have that right support.
Mm-hmm.
And you have benefited from that support, and Rebecca has now benefited from that support, and she got you in addition to me and Jenny. So it's just going to keep growing. The next person who comes in is going to get all 4 of us. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Lisa, thank you so much for being my first client outside of Jenny, because I mean, Jenny's just planning her baby, but for being one of my first clients inside of the program, and for going through that journey and to bring your value to it, because I learned things from you, and Jenny learned things from you, and we learned things from each other. And I mean, it's just going to continue now because you are one of us. So
One of us.
I was going to do that. You did it first.
I get the credit for that.
I'm like, do I do it or do I, and then you started.
I'm sorry.
But I know that you're super busy. So if there's any last things that you want to say about your experience or advice going through for moms, even moms who may not get the birth that they had wanted if something goes sideways because of, like the system is really what screwed it up for you.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I think maybe just in closing, like I guess the biggest piece of advice is, you know, take a chance on this course, on this group. Like there's nothing to lose, honestly, but everything to gain. And I mean, I was skeptical coming in, I'll admit it. I think maybe because I was so far along, and also because I'm like, oh, I've done this, I've had 3 kids. And it totally wasn't that at all. Like it definitely exceeded my expectations. In every sense, and still is, because it's an ongoing thing. It's you know, it's friendships, and it's, you know, connection and support, and I didn't really fathom that I could have that kind of support long distance too. I think that was the other component for me. As much as I would love to be in the Lower Mainland with you guys, which would be awesome, it was great to have support, any kind of support, and it's worth the investment into yourself and into your, you know, your body and everything, like learning so much about your physiology, and also just who you are as a person, because I really, and you know, we've had lots of conversations about this, that, you know, it's not all about like rah women empowerment, all that kind of stuff. It's not a cult, it's nothing crazy. It's ultimately about the fact that in birthing situations, we really have our power stripped from us in so many ways, and we don't even realize it. We had no idea. I had no idea. And even going through this process with you guys, and going into the hospital and having the birth that I didn't want, I recognized all of it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this is happening. And who knows, like it may inspire, you know, whoever is joining this program, it may inspire you to do like your own, you know, version of this, or, you know, empower other women and be involved in some capacity that will really impact people and change the world, rah. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say on that. I just feel like this is a very meaningful program, and you're making this into a very very loving, very supporting, very inclusive environment, which is amazing. So, you know, it's definitely worth any investment, time, money, energy, everything, to come through the end and have made friendships, but also to have, you know, gain strength that you may not know that you needed to gain or regain in some cases. In my case, definitely regain, and recognize that, wow, I gave my power away a long time ago, and now I need to get it back. So don't walk, run to take the program, run to do this. Yeah, you won't regret it. That's all I can say. I don't regret it at all.
I love you. You're gonna make me cry. You really are. Like after this is done, I'm gonna just sit on the couch and just cry and go, "Oh my God, Lisa!" like that just means everything to me, because like for me, it's just about helping. It's always been about seeing you empowered. It breaks my heart to see you wallow when I know how strong and powerful and resilient you are. And like So yeah, I lovingly smack you upside the head, and Jenny does it a little bit more forcefully because Jenny also smacks me upside the head. And I mean,
Yeah, I forgot about those moments.
yes, Jenny has smacked me upside the head many times.
Me too.
Even behind the scenes, like in our private chat when it's just me and Jenny, she will smack me up beside the head even more.
Yeah, no, and she's jumped into and been like, Lisa, come on.
Yep.
Let's go. I'm like, what? Can you just let me cry with my cookie? Like, come on.
Well, I'll let you cry with your cookie, and if you don't, if you need to cry with your cookie, that's okay. And then tomorrow we'll regroup. But today,
Exactly.
you need to cry, go cry. And Jenny's like, no, just go do it.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Anyway.
Gotta love Jenny. We love you, Jenny. We know you're listening right now.
Exactly. We love you, Jenny.
Jenny's shopping right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that she introduced me to this group. Again, at first I was like, oh, I don't know about it. And then, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's so many prenatal classes and they all teach the same things. And I've seen that over and over again. They all teach the same things. There's very few that actually teach autonomy. And I don't think there's anything at all like what I'm doing. This is like a category of one. Because I've got the psychology side and I've got the sociology side and I go into historical context and I just love on you. And like, it's a whole life thing. It's not like, oh, we're only going to talk about pregnancy. No, like if you're having problems in your relationship, we'll deal with that. If you're having problems with your family members, we'll deal with that. Check. Yeah.
If you're evacuated by a fire, check.
Yeah, the evacuated by a fire, moving, all of that stress. Renovation's not happening on a schedule and you're freaking out because you're trying to get a home birth and there's renovations that haven't happened yet. Like, check.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is. It's a lot. So much can happen. Like, we have like pretty much pregnancy lasts 10 months. So just think how many things can go in your life in a year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
even after the baby's born, what can happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so much crap that can happen. Like your family drama or your partner drama, or there's like stuff like moving. You never know. You might have a house fire. Like, I've been through it. Lisa's been through the evacuation. Like, we can all like basically take our knowledge and be like, I've been there. You'll get through this. We love you. We support you. It's like that cartoon. I'm not sure if you've seen that cartoon where the girl is like, I feel fat and ugly today, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? I can't believe you said that. We love you. You're so pretty. Your eyes sparkle. And it's like how women support each other, and also they lift her up and they're like, you're our hero. Like, have you seen that one?
No.
Okay, I have to go dig that out of my archives and put it in the group because you're just gonna smile. It's totally us.
Nice.
But I know you have to get going, and I need to tidy up because the kids want to go and play with the dog today at my dad's house.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's nice and sunny right now, so it's the one sunny day out of the month. The rest is gonna rain.
The lower mainland.
The lower mainland, yes. When it's sunny, once in a while, everybody comes out, and then we all hide in our house.
That's awesome.
That's probably why Jenny's out shopping today, because she can actually go outside and not get drowned in the water.
Exactly. Well, thank you for having me today.
Yeah,
I'm glad I could make it work.
All right. Well, you have a good day at your class tomorrow, and I will see you in the chat later because we're going to love and support you on everything that you're going to deal with, and we love you so much. And tomorrow we've got Rebecca on.
Yay!
Yay!
That's exciting.
I know. And please do send me more pictures of Miss Caitlin because she's so
cute. For sure, yeah.
She's so cute. I just want to nibble on her little toesies.
She's pretty sweet. All right, well, have a great rest of your day, Carly. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, Lisa. Okay, so now you've heard from Lisa, our first empowered mom, And you've heard from Jenny yesterday, and now tomorrow you're going to hear Rebecca's story about how she got a vaginal birth after 2 cesareans, completely unassisted, planned with her husband, and we got that right support. I didn't just work with Rebecca, but I worked with her husband as well. And so he really learned how to support her and do the hands-on things so that when that birth happened, there was this beautiful energy of masculine and feminine. It was so beautiful to behold. I even recorded it for them so they actually have the birth footage because I was supporting them through Zoom. And you're going to hear all that tomorrow. So we're not done. And if you do want to hear more about the Take Charge of Birth program, or if you just would like a little bit of help, see if it's a right fit for you, you are welcome to book a call with me. I help everyone. So if you come to me and we find out the program itself is not a great fit, I can send you to additional resources. I may have something that can get you that little bit of information that you need or that little bit of support that you need. And as I said, I am in this to help. So if you want to be part of the Take Charge of Birth program, I am inviting you to do that. And if you are not sure, you can book a call with me as well. And if you just need that extra bit of help, book a call with me. You have nothing to lose. As Lisa said, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by doing this. All right, I love you. I will see you soon, and I can't wait to support you. Bye.